pregnancy for me, wow, it's always a surprise. Yes, it's always a surprise, honestly. I've always had hormonal issues from like secondary school. Like, I not do my period for 6 months and it wasn't a big deal. No, to be honest. Yes, it's really it wasn't a big deal. I've had a point where I spotted for like a whole year. That was a big deal because I was spotting every day. You know, and so if I'm not doing it, believe me, it's a relief.
Yeah.
But when you spot for a whole year, then trust me, it's like. So I remember that my uncle is a guy, so God rest his soul. So he said to me, whenever you're going to get married, you can't have a baby on your own. So whoever you're going to get married to, tell them before you even get engaged. Like, he was just like, as I saying to you, I want to date, just be telling them, I can't have a baby on my own, so you don't have like in-law dramas.
And you have to have a surrogate.
No. I fertility, you know. So to be honest, I wasn't worried. I don't know why I wasn't worried, but I wasn't just worried because after spotting for a year, sometimes 6 months, off and on, being on so I didn't know I was on contraceptives. So I had been on contraceptives for like forever. So when you're on contraceptives, what it does is it balances your hormones. But those things get overwhelming because like you're taking pills every day. So I think when I got into uni, because I didn't know I was taking contraceptives. I just knew that I was taking my hormonal drugs. I think 200 levels, somebody saw me, so I was in hostel, somebody saw me with it and said, why are you taking contraceptives? You know, there's so many things outside. Blah, blah, blah. There's those STDs. I said, what's STDs? So, you know, so this, my friend, you know, like, gave me the whole
breakdown.
So I went back home really sad. And I had to go and see my uncle and have that long chat. And he said, no, that it's bad. I remember him telling me that it's bad girls that use it for bad things, that but, you know. I was that naive. So I was that naive. So he gave me a lot of issues at school because then I just wanted to be in and out. So you never found me hanging around uni. You never found me like hanging out somewhere within the school. I don't do it. In and out. Like I'm in for my lectures and I'm back to my flat. You don't even find me downstairs. Like, oh, this girl stays there. You probably won't even know I stay there because once I'm in, I'm like, lock and key. You know. So he said to me that, oh no, that you know we use this thing. So he explained it to me. So because I had the knowledge now that like what you're taking is a contraceptive. So I stopped taking my pills for a while. Okay. So I started missing it, like, you know, I'm not taking this thing. So I started having like so I think the spotting thing started after then. Yeah, I spotted for a whole year. And he said, oh, you need to do this. Have you been taking it? I said to him, no. I said, Daddy, I'm not taking that thing again. I said, people see me at school and look at me as if I go all over the place. So he said he understands. He said, okay, we'll leave it that way. And then when it's time, we'll start, you know, other things. I don't know if those things go worse, but when I first got pregnant, for me it was like a miracle. I lost a baby, and there were so many things. I can't begin to, you know, the long needle you see. So I did a lot of reading. That they put the needle. What do they call it? Is it amniocentesis? Which of them?
Amniocentesis. Was during the pregnancy.
Yeah,
it was amniocentesis.
So the baby's heart was, I think, a bit larger than normal. So they had to do a whole lot of tests. In fact, I left town because the hospital didn't pick up so many things at 20 weeks. They do an anomaly scan, which I think they didn't pick up so many things. So by the time they picked it up, my uncle said, you know what, it's better for you to leave town. So I left town and I had to have so much, like, lost the baby, breached baby, had to give birth at 7 months, you know. Let me cut the story short. And then I had to see a therapist. So abroad, when you lose a baby, you have to see a therapist.
Yes, I should.
You have to do counseling sessions. They don't do those. I don't think they do those things. But I had to go through counseling, and whenever I had. So when I had the second pregnancy, I took my confessions more seriously. I had these confession books that, in fact, if I found anybody pregnant, I would just hand it over. So I took it seriously. I didn't have anything. I didn't have cravings. I didn't have anything. But when it was time to give birth, they said to me I had to give birth in the same room I lost the first baby to help me find closure.
Okay.
So I had the baby, no painkillers. Ella was smooth, like. So with Tito, oh my God, I think almost at the end of the pregnancy, I had this pain about 12 midnight. It was, in fact, I had gone to sleep over at someone's house with Ella, and in the middle of the night, this pain started. There was a snowstorm. We had to call an ambulance, and I was saying, I don't have $5,000. I don't have $5,000 to pay for emergency. And they weren't going to take me to my hospital because there was a snowstorm, so they take you to the nearest, which is another bill entirely. I said, no, I wasn't doing it. So they said I had to sign a paper. I did that. If anything happens to me and my baby, you know, they won't be, you know, responsible. So we went to the hospital. So she said, how many minutes apart? My auntie said, but I said, this is no labor pain. I don't, because I've never experienced labor pain. So I had to say that. The only pain I ever experienced was the head coming out less than a minute, and that's it.
Wow.
You know, so I was like, labor pain. I said, no, this one is, you know, it's. So they kept, you know, they were getting ready to have this baby. And the pain I was feeling, I didn't feel any pain down there. It was really painful. I had no idea what was going on. Fast forward, they did a scan. They said I had gallstone.
Oh, okay.
And I was due. I was due to have the baby. I think I was 40 weeks.
Yeah,
42 weeks is 2 weeks after, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I was 40 weeks. So they said gallstone. They said, okay, so they cannot take this baby out. They cannot have an emergency CS. They had to bring that pain down before they can cut me open. So I was taking morphine every 15 minutes. I don't know if you know what morphine is like. So I'm trying not to get emotional. I had to inject myself. So sometimes you are pressing it, the pain is coming, and it wasn't just time for you to inject yourself. So anyway, we had the next day I just said a little prayer and the pain just disappeared, and they looked at it and said, you know what?
You can go.
You can go home, but should you feel anything, and you need to take this out before you leave this country. If it happens in the flight, they have to do an emergency landing. So like they gave me the whole. I had the baby same delivery, no labor pains. I kept falling down. Yes, I kept falling down. I would sleep on the snow and fall down and hit my bum. So there was a point where I couldn't really walk. You know. So I told my mom. So I started leaking. So I had this pregnancy Bible. Oh, I read it back to back for Ella too. I went through it and I said, my sap was ruptured. So I was leaking, and I knew I had about 24 hours. So I kept drinking a lot of water, telling myself that to talk. I would talk so the top was really looking small. I said to my mom, I said, I need to get to the hospital. I'm having this baby now. My mom said, oh, you want to help him, Mojo? I said, this baby is coming out, we need to go.
They always
So we got there. She said, what do you want? You know, when we got to the hospital, I said to them that this is what's going on, that's what's going on. They said, okay. So by the time they checked, they said the baby had pulled, which means the baby was in distress, and they had to bring the baby out. So the first pregnancy I lost, I went the whole 9 years. I had Pitocin. Pitocin is this drip, very painful, worst thing ever. So they said to me that they needed to induce this baby that was not ready to come out. And because I had taken Pitocin before, I said to them that you have to give me my pain relief options. With Ella, I didn't take anything, no epidural, nothing. I just had my baby. But with Tito, when I had Pitocin, I said I would go for epidural. So I told them that I had phobia for needles, so they had to get someone, because I took my whole file from the UK to US. So they said, so they had to get someone to talk me through, and I didn't know when, everything. So they had to give me a gel. Sorry, whenever I take those things, they have to give me numbing gels. So they did everything, And I don't know, there wasn't any difference because they told me, oh, I have to wait. They want to deliver another baby since I was doing fine. My mom said, but when the kid was coming out as well, I felt the push, but I didn't feel the pain. I think because of the epidural. And then I was like, so.
Okay.
No, I feel like my own pregnancy journey is so ordinary.
My own was I've been pregnant 3 times. And like the Tosin said, when I was getting married, I said I didn't want to have a baby until like 2 years after I get married. Oh, I want to stay with my husband, I want to so many stories. And my mom, funny enough, my in-laws never did put me under any pressure. That was good. My mom was like, 2 years. 2 years. So I still insisted that no, I wasn't going to. I didn't want any child to come, and I just got married. I want to enjoy my husband, me and my husband. So we were doing that, and I wasn't worried for some strange reasons. I said, okay, that's fine. He too was like, okay, that's what you want, that's fine. So, but at a point in time, I noticed I was just missing my period, and then after like 3 months, it would come back. After a while again, it would go, it would come back. So, and never did used to happen to me. So, I have uncles that are professors and all. So my mom started talking to them and telling them that, so one hour called me and said, what's the problem? I said, there's no problem. He said, I'm missing my period regularly. I said, sometimes 3 months I won't see it, and after a while I would see it. And then he said, okay, go and see so doctor and all of that. And I went to see him, and then we now started going through the whole process, and then found out that I had PCOS.
Okay.
So he said, okay, it's nothing serious. A lot of people have it, so you just have to start taking drugs and all of that. And so we started doing that. And then I got pregnant the first time, and I didn't even know I was pregnant. So I went to see him regularly, and then he said, okay, go and do a transvaginal scan. Let's see what is really going on in there. And when I got to the hospital, they said, oh, I can see a sac. Say to take what is your sac again? I was like, oh, I can see a sac. It's like, you're pregnant. Okay. And that was like 8 weeks gone already. So I was like, okay, fine. Myself and my younger sister went together, and then I told her, I said, okay, so when we go home, I told my mom, don't tell anybody, just keep quiet, don't say anything, it's okay, I said, okay, mommy, no problem. So I got to the office that day, and then I just discovered that I was spotting. So immediately I went to the hospital, and then doctor said, oh, are you pregnant? I said, yes. I actually came with my test and all of that with the result. So he said, oh, that there's nothing, I just need to rest and all of that. And then in the space of, let's say, like a week, it just became very uncontrollable. And then I had to go to the hospital, and then they said, oh, we're sorry, but you lost the baby. So, okay, that's fine. Said, oh, you have to stay, you don't have to get pregnant in the next 6 months so your body can heal and then go through the whole process. So I said, fine. And then I just said I wasn't ready to go through that whole trauma again. And then I went 1 year. I didn't want to get pregnant. I mean, just let me be. So I stopped taking my drugs. I stopped taking anything that would. The period will not come, 6 months, I'm fine. There's no issue. I'm okay. So in 2018, I think that was in December, I just noticed I wasn't just, most of the time when I just noticed I just started having patches all over my body, and then the doctor would say, oh, it's hormonal issues, it's because of the PCOS, that's why you're having all those things, it's because you're taking drugs to regulate your period and all, so it's normal. So that, and I think that was in December, I found out that those patches just started coming, and they were everywhere. They were on my face. My face was like dry. I'll put cream. It still did not make any difference. So I just left it. So I think I thought I was seeing my period, and that was in January. I thought it was my period, but for some strange reason, the cramp was too much. The bleeding was too much. Everything was just so. Everything was too much. So my husband just said, let's go to the hospital. This is too much. Let's just go. So it was on a Sunday. We went to the hospital. Doctor said, what's wrong? I said, I don't know. I think I'm on my period. And then he said, okay, let's do a blood test. And then he found out that I was pregnant. So I never know when I'm pregnant. I just noticed that, okay, maybe I don't see my period for a while and maybe I just do a scan, or it's just something we just say, okay, just go and do it, and then I'll just go and do it. And then so they said, okay, it was on a Sunday, so all the labs were not opened, all of that was happening. So on Monday I went to the office, I told them, oh, I need to go, because I said, okay, you need to do some tests and all of that. So when I got to the hospital, they just said, okay, we need to do some tests, scans, all of that. They said, okay, the pregnancy was still there, but I need to be on bed rest. But in my mind, I already knew, no, this was gone. The bleeding was too much and all of that. So I just forgot about it, and I said, so my mom was always the one like putting pressure and saying, okay, you've had 2 miscarriages already. What's the problem? Because I said, it happens. Do you rear cats? I said, I don't even rear any pets. He said, well, when you have this, the cat causes. No, wait. You rear cats? Do you do this? Do you do that?
I cannot imagine what you were thinking.
So we just let that go, and then that happened, and then I just felt anyhow, if I get pregnant again, fine. I'm not going to put myself under any pressure, but I just believed that if God said I was going to get pregnant, then that's fine. But if I was not going to have a child, then that's fine. Also, I already knew I was going to adopt a child, so if the adoption was the way forward, then that's fine by me. My in-laws were not stressing me at all. Nobody even talked to me about it and said, what's happening, what's the problem. Nobody said anything to me. So I think that was in May of 2018 too. A friend of mine just said, why are you not check this, buy kits in the house? I said, I'm not buying, I'm not going to put myself through checking, and then when I check, I'll now start going into some moods and all of that. I'm not going to do that. But he kept insisting, when we check this thing, go and buy these kits and keep in the house. So I said, okay, no problem. And I just, one day, I didn't even have the courage to buy, so I just told my husband, when you are coming, buy pregnancy kits for me, let me just check. So I checked, and for the first time, pregnancy kit worked for me, because every time I check, it's always negative until I do a blood test. So I checked and then it was positive. I dropped it. We bought like 5. So brother and that one checked it was positive. Checked again, positive. Okay. And I called them and said, Jibu Alpha, this thing is positive. He said, positive. I said, yes, it's positive. He said, okay. And I texted my doctor and told him that I just had, okay, before then, I started seeing a particular doctor that I was seeing before. I found out his hospital, so I started going to him, and then he started saying, oh, before I start thinking of maybe IVF or all of that, that there are other things I can do before I start thinking of IVF. So he said there was something that, there was some injection I took for a period of 5 days. I would take that, and then I started taking Clomid to induce ovulation. Yes, so I started taking Clomid and all. So the first time I took Clomid, it was after I took those injections for 5 days. He said, okay, take Clomid once you see your period, and then he gave me how I was going to take it. So I did it, and then that the first month I wasn't pregnant. But I now told him that, okay, I saw my period the next month. He said, okay, take Clomid again. And then when I took Clomid, that was when I noticed the next month that I was pregnant. Okay. So while going through it, I said, okay, maybe you come to the hospital the next day, and then let's just do a blood test, and let's just confirm that it's true. So we went there and we did the blood test, and it was true. So he said, okay, we're going to start taking progesterone.
Yeah, it's kind of stabilize pregnancy.
Yeah, so I started taking progesterone. Immediately I found out I was pregnant, and I was using that till I traveled. So throughout the pregnancy, no cravings, nothing. No vomiting, no spitting, nothing. I did not have anything. And I was losing weight, which I was very happy. I was very, very happy because I was losing so much weight. I wasn't eating. So the only thing I was taking was, once I see garden egg, outside. That was the only thing I was eating.
So that was the craving man.
That was, yeah, I think that was the craving. That was the only thing I was taking. I was eating that egg throughout. Once I'm going to the office on third meal, and I'll see all those women that carry them. I will say, yeah, let's buy garden egg. I'll buy garden egg, and it's the green one. So one day she tasted it and she was like, oh my god. This is what you're taking, and you know the green one is very bitter.
Yeah.
So she was like, that's what you're eating. What are you enjoying in this? I said, this is actually the sour taste. Anything that was sour, I was fine with it. So I wasn't really eating. I was very bitter leaf. That your tongue, something. Nothing was working. So my doctor said, he insisted that okay, if I needed to travel, I needed to go at 35 weeks. So I left at 35 weeks, and that was it. But when I got to America, all of a sudden, unnecessary heartburn from nowhere. I could not sit down straight without feeling some kind of way. I was just very uncomfortable. So I started talking to my doctor. So he said I should buy Tums or something. So I was taking Tums, and then it will relieve me. But I got very tired because one, I was alone for a very long time. So every time I go for antenatal, I'm always like, doctor, please, is this child healthy? Yes, healthy. Can we take the child out now? Because I'm tired. This child has to go now. So my mom, I was just very tired. This child has to come out though. I was tired. You know that was the best time. So I enjoyed that period. I enjoyed because your pregnancy is the best time.
I didn't know
Available at YouTube at RCCG Joshuaville. Joshuaville, raising influential leaders fulfilling purpose.